Hello, my name is Carla Basham, and this is my discussion post for week 3 on the lesson plan template. So the first question for this week's discussion is, how does the CSOE lesson plan template differ from other templates I've seen previously in the past? And so one thing that I noticed right off the bat was that the lesson plan for the CSOE template was very structured, very detailed, and is showed that it was very inclusive. So the CSOE is also very specific and it entails all the elements of the lesson from the beginning all the way to the end of the lesson. And so the other lessons that I've previously seen were very basic in nature, where they just provide the basic information about the lesson, the subject, the description of the lesson, and then also the materials that will be used and generally how the lesson will be presented. And so when I'm thinking about the differences, there are several differences that I noticed, but I will focus on 3 differences that I did notice that stood out to me in regards to implementing the CSOE lesson plan template. And so it was very, very detailed, and there are different areas inside of the lesson plan template. But the 3 that I found that stood out were first was the implementation of the educational theory or theories that will be used throughout the lesson. So, for example, if you use the behaviorism theory, or perhaps you'll use the cognitivism theory or constructivism theory, how that will be implemented inside of your lesson. And I think it's really neat, and it's great because it helps the teacher to be able to manage the students' behaviors, and also it creates a more inclusive environment with the students. And so the second one difference that I noticed, was there was a section that focused on diverse learners. So it identifies an approach to teaching students with mixed abilities. And so in this particular area, what you saw in the lesson plan was the teacher will explain how their lesson will be adapted to tailored for the student who, for example, is an English learner or an advanced learner, or maybe a learner who is at risk, or furthermore, learners who may have specific disabilities, right? And so I feel like it's very important thinking of the individual student, because uh, each and every single student, I personally believe that each and every student needs individualized learning, but it really is the best way to accommodate each student, depending on their learning style, so that they can in turn have a positive learning environment and learning experience. And the third area was the section of reflection. So there's an area in the CSOE template where the teacher has a reflection, right? They carry out a reflection at the end of the lesson. So I believe that it's a great way to think of what was successful in the lesson versus what needs improvement. And through analyzing the the lesson, and improving the lesson by making adjustments so that those adjustments can be applied for the future lesson. And it also allows for each student to benefit from that learning experience, and it also can like improve the students' performance. So also too, the 3 elements that I found that will be potentially challenging for myself that I noticed in the CSOE template was, although the template is very detailed and very structured from beginning to end, myself, I'm a little concerned when it comes to the amount of time that it would take to prepare and develop and record each lesson plan template. So that's one of my concerns. And another one is learning and understanding all of the TPEs, the state standards, the teacher standards, as well as the learning theories. And so I know that that's something, as a new teacher, it kind of is daunting to me, but I also know that over time it will eventually become second nature. And lastly would be managing and identifying the diverse behaviors, and really adjusting and adapting each lesson with the proper learning supports for each individual student, so that each student can have a successful learning experience. And so what I mean by that is just being able to identify each student and how they learn and what they need in order to have a successful learning experience. And then once I figure that out, then figuring out how to adjust and adapt each lesson so that each student can learn well. So that concludes my discussion for week 3 posts on the lesson plan template, how the CSOE lesson plan template differs from other templates that I've seen before, and the 3 areas that I personally find might be difficult. Thank you so much for listening.